Tucked in the foothills of Great North Mountain in western Shenandoah County, the small unincorporated community of Orkney Springs plays host to one of the longest-running outdoor concert series in Virginia. Each summer, the Shenandoah Valley Music Festival draws thousands of concertgoers from all over Virginia, the Mid-Atlantic region, and beyond. Concerts take place on the grounds of Shrinemont, a sprawling 1,000-acre retreat and conference center owned by the Episcopal Diocese of Virginia. The music, the venue's beautiful surroundings, and Shrinemont's turn-of-the-century charm all come together to create a unique concert experience.
It is just one of those precious little gems of the Shenandoah Valley of live music. You look around, it's an outdoor setting, bring your own picnic basket. It's our own little miniature wolf trap here in the Shenandoah Valley. The drive from Interstate 81 out here is this beautiful winding country road. You've got old historic buildings around you, and you're never overcrowded. It's not really a big crowd, so it's just a fabulous venue to come just spend a relaxed summer evening and listen to music.
Each summer, the festival's concert lineup features some of the biggest names in music.
Bruce Hornsby has been out, Mary Chapin Carpenter's been out multiple times. The Beach Boys, Travis Tritt and Jerry Douglas, a really cool acoustic show that they did together. Leanne Rimes was out in 2016.
Founded in 1963, the Shenandoah Valley Music Festival was an outgrowth of the American Symphony Orchestra League Conductors Workshops that took place each summer at the Orkney Springs Hotel, owned and operated by Miles and Jacqueline Portlock.
It used to be families came, they came the same time every year. They stayed for a week or a month, depending upon, the means that they had, and they came back year after year. Well, it started changing, and they had motels, and people wanted to go to different places. So my father, we always laughed and said, Shrinemont, who was right above us at the end of the road, a big circle, that they had hundreds of salesmen because they had all their ministers that were selling their property. And my father was the only one, so he was kind of scrapping to change the business. And the hotel, I guess, caught the eye of the American Symphony Orchestra League.
The league struck a deal with the Portlocks and held its first workshop at the hotel in 1960. Carolyn Moomaw Chilton, whose father Wilmer Moomaw was director of Shrinemont at the time, recalls how each summer the conductors' workshops would transform the sleepy little community into a wellspring of world-class music.
As a young child, maybe 8, 10 years old, I remember in the summers that there was music everywhere. You couldn't go anywhere in Orkney Springs that you didn't hear the full orchestra practicing on the second floor in the ladies' parlor downstairs, or they would be out on the lawns, or they'd be on the porches outside their rooms practicing. And there, for 6 weeks, there was music everywhere.
Musicians and conductors from all over the nation and world came to the Orkney Springs Hotel to receive a special training under the direction of internationally known conductor, Dr. Richard Lert. The workshop's lengthy rehearsals and instructional sessions would always attract residents and hotel guests who would gather on the porches and lawn of the hotel to enjoy the music.
I remember as a child coming up onto the second floor porch and just hiding, sitting at a corner and listening to the music.
According to Shenandoah County folklore, the Shenandoah Valley Music Festival got its start after one of the local residents, who was sitting on the lawn listening to the rehearsals, became impatient with the orchestra's constant stops and starts.
They say the music festival started when one brave guy stuck his head in a window and said, "Hey, can you play one from beginning to end without stopping?" And that was the beginning of the Shenandoah Valley Music Festival right there.
It wasn't long before a committee of locals came together under the leadership of Helen Thompson, Executive Secretary of the American Symphony Orchestra League, and Colonel Robert Benshoff, headmaster at Massanutten Military Academy in Woodstock, to organize Shenandoah Valley Music Festival's first concert.
They saw the opportunity that, wow, we have these terrific young conductors and these outstanding musicians from symphonies all over the world, not just the country, but all over the world, coming here to be in residence at Orkney Springs. Why don't we raise some money and they can do a public concert?
The first concert featured the Symphony League Philharmonic Orchestra and took place on August 16, 1963, in the gym of Massanutten Military Academy.
My piano teacher, who lived here in Orkney Springs, Elizabeth Leonard, took me to that concert. It was the first time that I had been exposed to classical symphonic music, and so it was wonderful. I remember being very hot in that auditorium.
They had the Pops concert and other concerts out on the front lawn. And I mean, it was beautiful. I remember one, I don't remember the piece. I remember there was a lady with a trumpet on the top porch. It was probably up here. And so she played this solo and was, you know, just haunting, really. The music was beautiful. And they had a little shell that they had built down there. And so the rest of the concerts were then held at Massanutten Military Academy.
As the Shenandoah Valley Music Festival grew over the years, it eventually moved all its concerts to the hotel's Pavilion in 1976.
The concerts were done at Massanutten because at the time the Pavilion at Orkney Springs wasn't big enough and wasn't situated quite right to accommodate a very big crowd. But that changed in the mid 1970s. The festival raised some money to hire Blue Ridge Trust to build a stage at the end of the pavilion, which meant that you now had a stage there. You had a pavilion where you could have some premium seats, and then you could have a lawn section behind it.
By 1979, the hotel closed, and Shrinemont purchased and incorporated the hotel property into its operations, while allowing Shenandoah Valley Music Festival to continue holding its summer concert series in the Pavilion. At that time, the festival's concert series was still purely symphonic, but through the years, as musical tastes in society began to change, concerts featuring genres such as pop rock, country, Americana, folk, and world music slowly crept into the festival lineup.
The festival was founded in the golden age of symphonic music in America. It was a great sign of civic pride for an area to have its own symphony orchestra. That was declining by the early part of the first decade of the new century.
We've always been challenged, but change we had to make. This evening we have the symphony. That is something we used to have a lot of. They're very expensive. And we used to board them, feed them, and actually we transported their instruments with our own cars. We would go get them and bring them and take them back.
Today, the legacy of live music in Orkney Springs lives on, making it a major destination for music lovers from all over Virginia, the nation, and the world to enjoy live music in a beautiful, scenic, and historic venue. The music, the audiences, the supporting partners, the volunteers, and beautiful mountain setting all come together to create a magical concert experience enjoyed by thousands of Shenandoah Valley Music Festival fans each summer.
I think it is one of the most important programs that Shenandoah County has and Shenandoah Valley. And as someone who has a lifelong interest with Shrinemont and the Orkney Springs Hotel, my father was succeeded by two of my brothers, and they were succeeded by one of my nephews. So the Mumals have a long tradition here too, and it is an honor to have the Shenandoah Valley Music Festival to be the venue for that. It's wonderful.
Our times are troublesome, but if we can sing, if we can hear beauty, I think is so important in the place of ugliness and hate. And this is what we're about, is preservation of beauty.